tell you I couldn't stand her in Obi-Wan, but in this, she done won me over. I mean that thing.
I'm gonna tell you that I love you 100 times a day. You'll get tired of my voice, that's how much I'm gonna tell you that I miss you.
Only apply that. Get it, don't be timid when you ain't apply that. Love a bone, give along, need it. I don't want no trip, baby, spend like it's
My name is Ashley, and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related, and I am here to put you on, okay? We are back today to talk about a brand new series that premiered on Apple TV July 19th, called Lady in the Lake, okay? Starring Natalie Portman and Moses Ingram. And again, like I said in that intro, Moses Ingram, me and her had issues in Obi-Wan, okay? She played on the top and I did not like her probably until episode 4 or 5. But in this, oh my goodness, what a breath of fresh air her performance has been in these first 2 episodes. I've watched both episodes. I'm going to give you a full review for each. But in this one, we're going to start with episode 1 entitled, Did You Know Seahorses Are Fish? And baby, when I tell you, listen, this took me through changes emotionally, all right? Written by Nambi E. Kelly, directed, written, and executive produced by Alma Harrell. When I tell you that they did their big one, such beautiful work. The scenes are beautiful. The writing is exceptional. Again, you know, I love a period piece where I feel as though I've been transported back to an earlier time. And that's exactly what I'm getting with Lady in the Lake. All the mystery, all the intrigue. But without further ado, let's get into this review. Lady in the Lake is all about when a disappearance of a young girl grips the city of Baltimore on Thanksgiving 1966. The lives of 2 women converge on a fatal collision course. Maddie Schwartz, played by Natalie Portman, is a Jewish housewife seeking to shed a secret past and reinvent herself as an investigative journalist. And Cleo Johnson, played by Moses Ingram, is a mother navigating the political underbelly of Black Baltimore while struggling to provide for her family. Their disparate lives seem parallel at first, but when Maddie becomes fixated on Cleo's mystifying unaliving, a chasm opens that puts everyone around them in danger. From visionary director Alma Harrell, Lady in the Lake emerges as a feverish noir thriller and is an unexpected tale of the price women pay for their dreams. Baby, and there's so much more to it. There's so much complexity and nuance. But let's get right into it. So as we start episode 1, it opens up with Cleo, right, being dumped in the lake, but who we later find out is Reggie, who works for the numbers man, okay, in Baltimore. And as she's being dumped into the lake, we are hearing her narration. And she's talking specifically to Maddie. And so she says, listen, you said you knew who got me, Maddie. And you said no one cared until you said something. But what was it? You know what I mean? What was it all really about? And so we are seeing the scenes pass, and we are at a Thanksgiving Day parade. Again, it's 1966 Baltimore, and it's 1 month before Cleo's unaliving. We see a young girl, Tessie, and her mama, and basically the mama's trying to wrangle Tessie and her family out of this parade because they have places to get to, honey. It's Thanksgiving, and they're Jewish. They have stuff they're trying to do. And Tessie's on her kick because she wants Christmas. And she don't understand why she can't get Santa and all that. And the mom's trying to explain that they're Jewish and that Santa's not real. But don't tell anybody else, okay? But this baby wants a seahorse for Christmas. And so while the crowd is bustling around, Tessie walks off, right? And the store is right there. It's a fish shop. And she is in there just, you know, living her best life because, honey, she wants a seahorse. That's all she can think about. And so as she's in the store, there is a black guy with a clearly big bruise on his face. And we later know that that's Reggie. And there's also the shopkeep, right, who owns the shop. And he's like, come back later with your parents. You know what I mean? But go get your parents. And it's an awkward situation. We don't know what's going on in that moment, but it feels weird and it feels tense. And of course, with the synopsis, we kind of have an idea of what's going to happen. And I'm saying Reggie's watching the whole time. And it's very strange and odd. Meanwhile, we meet Maddie officially, and she is running errands, honey, because she got to get this lamb brisket that she has to prepare for Thanksgiving, because although they're Jewish and in the Jewish community, not all of them celebrated Thanksgiving, honey. They make it clear that they are Americans, and that her husband wants this kosher lamb brisket. And so as she's making her way out, she gets blood on her dress, and she goes to a store where Cleo is working as a live mannequin in the window. And it just so happens that as she's perusing the windows looking for an outfit to replace the one that she's stained, she sees Cleo in this yellow dress, and she's like, I want that one. And they're like, we don't have any in back. It's only what the model has on. And Maddie's like, listen, I don't care. Take it off her. And then we get a glimpse into Cleo's world and how she's treated being a living mannequin at this store. And basically they tear her out the dress, honey, and give it to the lady, and she can barely get her clothes. But she's got somewhere to be as well. But can't leave, of course, without them docking her pay. Meanwhile, Maddie gets her dress, honey, because she's got somewhere to be as well. And so this, again, is where we're starting to see the parallel between these two women. Now that we've met, they've crossed paths, not officially, right? But now we kind of see how their lives are mirroring. Maddie is on her way to give a speech at the Jewish Center, some sort of auxiliary meeting where she's awarding 3 women for their services. And Cleo is going to speak for, I believe, a councilwoman or some member of politics who's running for re-election. If you remember Veronica from Tyler Perry's The Have and the Have-Nots, that's who's playing Summers, right? Miss Summers. And so Cleo's like, if I give a good speech, honey, maybe I'll get a job there. All right. And so as they're getting there, they both arrive a little bit late and find out that this young Tessie Durst is missing. And that's what's been the traffic and commotion getting there. And again, this first episode, again, was very much about parallels. Both Cleo and Maddie are women, of course, wives, mothers, both actually even going to speaking engagements, somewhat charismatic, somewhat charming. And even though they're both women, we see how different their lives are. You know what I mean? We have Cleo, and again, this breaks right along the color line. We have shopper versus employee. We have Black versus Jewish. We have, the fortunate versus the less so, right? Cleo just trying to make it. She's trying to feed her family. She's trying to do what she needs to do. And Maddie just feels suffocated at this point as a housewife and mom. And so now that we are at the Summers rally, we're kind of seeing what's going on in the Black community at the time. And so the men are really upset at Summers all around integration. And, whichever take you have, there's arguments that are plausible on both sides of the argument, and their assertion is basically that integration would not serve the Black people in the community. And do with that what you may, but they not here for Summers and her plan. The men are upset about it, talking about she doesn't speak for me. Well, baby, Miss Cleo stands up and says, well, she speaks for me. She speaks for me, okay? And immediately everybody's looking at her like, okay, Cleo, you stepping up. And Summers looks at her as well. But again, we later find out why Cleo was kind of on this mission. Meanwhile, again, Maddie's giving away awards at the auxiliary function, and we get the update that they've widened the search for young Tessie Durst, right? And so Maddie immediately leaves and wants to help find Tessie, okay? And we don't know why at the moment, but we discover later in the episode. Back to Cleo's house, honey. After she done worked as the live mannequin, done went to the Summers rally, she now gets home, honey, to find her oldest son, Teddy, is with the numbers man, running numbers, and so she's pissed. Leave my child alone. I don't want him in this life. I want him to have a better life. So Teddy runs up the back to get in the house before she can. And when she opens the door, she sees her husband and he having a whole party. Not a job, but a party. Okay. And so that was my thing. He's at home while she working 2, 3, 4 jobs. We later discover, like, sir, what's going on? And he says that he's trying to stay true to his truth. He's a comedian, Slappy Johnson. And she like, I'm just I need you to come with a check. All right. And so she gets her 2 sons, packs them up and says, you know what? I'll come back when you get yourself together, but I'm going to my mama's house. All right. Later, we find out on the other side of town that Maddie dated Tessie's daddy, Alan Durst, back in high school. And we start to get flashbacks about what happened back then. Apparently, maybe she lost her V card to him, and he stood her up for prom. Okay, and this all comes out at the dinner. Not so much the V card, but the fact that he stood her up for prom, because now she's married to a whole new man, and he takes this time to make a big federal case of it. He want to question her. He want to do all the things. And so in this moment, I was with Maddie. I was pissed off too. All right. Cleo gets to her mama's house, and we discover that her youngest son has sickle cell anemia. And again, they're not getting much help, but he's constantly in crisis. Like in this instant, it's his hands. They're completely hurting him. And we also get a glimpse inside of Cleo's family drama. Apparently, her mother has remarried, maybe since the passing of Cleo's father. And it's kind of a tumultuous situation. Cleo kind of big mad at Isaiah, who is the mom's new husband. Again, Maddie's husband's worried about her in high school, and she done made this lamb, the potato, everything ready because he had guests over. And messes around because she's kind of preoccupied with Tessie the Durst. All this is way too much for her. Plus, I think she's just frustrated, and she messes around and puts the kosher lamb roast on a dairy dish. Now, if you know anything about orthodoxy in Judaism, you know, when you're keeping kosher, you have different sets of dishes for different sets of things. You have different cooking apparatus for different dishes so that it doesn't become, you know, corrupted, right? And so he throws the whole thing away, and she spazzes. Okay, she spazzes, and she's like, I can't deal with this. All right, you're doing too much. And she runs, cleans the suit jacket. That's when we see her flashback to Alan Durst cleaning up her blood, maybe after the V card. Okay. And so she's fed up. She's sick of being a housewife, packs that suitcase, baby, and she heads out. She heads out and she's in the car, and then we see her with herself, with her younger self. And I'm like, oh, here we go. We finna get deep. Then we hear more of Cleo's narration during this time. And she's talking about, before this, I saw you seeing me. I saw you painting a picture of myself. You're gonna have to sit with this, y'all. It gets contemplative, because I think as we're getting through this episode, we are really discovering more about Maddie. And Maddie has these secrets, right? And it's like she thinks that she's something that she's not. I think that she believes that she is just this violated woman. And I think in her efforts to solve these crimes or whatever, she thinks it's going to gain her, I don't know if it's a claim, I don't know if she feels like it's going to give her independence, but I really hope that we explore that more as the series continues. So Cleo now is going to her next job, baby, because I told you she had 3-4 jobs. And so now we find out that she's not only a barmaid at the numbers runners guy, whatever situation, she is also his bookkeeper, okay? And so Maddie, again, is on the run, and she's like, I need an apartment. She goes to see the jeweler, who she knows has apartments, honey, but the apartments are in the hood. All right, we're back in the club. We see that same black guy with the jacked up face, and he's getting down with Cleo's bestie, Dora. I mean, they all the way in the jungle. We also find out that Dora is a singer at the club, but also has a habit. Okay, she got a DRUG habit. All right, and Maddie's ready to pawn it all. Reggie and the cop at the Cleo bar. And so now we're at the bar, and we can actually see Cleo working here, okay? And we also see Reggie again, and we see him in this capacity working for Mr. Gordon's, who is the numbers man, all right? We also now meet a cop, Platt, which we'll get into much later, but he is there as well, because apparently this is just a hangout for the black folks in Baltimore, okay? And next time we see Reggie here, he is cleaning up his tracks, okay? He, finds out what happened at the aquarium, but now he's getting rid of the fish that he had got from the fish shop earlier that day. We already saw it was him that dumped Cleo in the very beginning. We know he was there at the fish shop when the little girl went missing. It can't be this obvious, y'all. It can't be that obvious. But why is he Mr. Cleanup Man? Why is he always there? That's the question. Again, we've already met Dora, who is Cleo's best friend, who was just getting busy with Reggie, but now she looks like she done OD'd, okay? So he gets Cleo, is like, she needs help. Cleo sobers her up, gets her ready for stage, I guess because that's what friends are for, okay? Meanwhile, Maddie is in the hood, and the jeweler's daughter, I think, wants them draws. The jeweler's daughter, Judith, it's very odd. It's very odd. It's very strange how they interact, y'all. Cleo talking to Mr. Gordon, and again we find out that she keeps the books in addition to running bar. And he says, listen, you too busy making speeches to worry about my business. And she's like, no, Mr. Gordon, that's not it. And we are beginning to understand that there's more that meets the eye with candidate Summers and Mr. Gordon. Okay. And he basically says, listen, Cleo, you over there volunteering, running your mouth, I pay you, okay? And I'm gonna need you to get up there and introduce Dora. She says, you know what? I don't like the spotlight that much. He says, well, I didn't ask you because I'm paying you. Matter of fact, you know, your husband, I hate to see him go down bad as a black man in America. Tell him to come on tomorrow night and do a set here. And so she's like, all right, I'll have him do that. And we need him, right? Because he needs to bring some money into the household. Meanwhile, Maddie and Judith, after they get settled into her new apartment, are like, you know, let's go join the search for Tessie. They're in the woods, honey, and they find the baby. Tessie gone. Trigger warning, Tessie gone, okay? And then we hear finally Cleo's narration at the end of this episode. And it says, you know, you wanted Tessie's death to bring you freedom, but it only brought you to the door. Mine is what opened it. Baby, listen, and I hate to feel this way, but I think Maddie is going to use this for her own notoriety, and it's going to speak, I think, more to the issues of her heart. Like I said, there's parallels. They're both women, both wives, you know, both, you know, seem to have some sort of charisma, but at the end of the day, one is privileged and one is not. Like, let's be completely honest and clear about the way things were. And so I think by Maddie, not only I think it's helping her find purpose, right, in solving these crimes and now getting back into her career and kind of setting aside the housewife role, but is there more to it? You know what I mean? Is she going to exploit these cases? That's what I want to know. And I want to know if Maddie's hiding anything else. But y'all let me know in the comments below. I am intrigued by this mystery thriller, okay? I am totally invested, and we will be doing a live on this. So hit the notification bell. Make sure that you are on the community tab so you know when that drops. It'll be in the next couple days. So just be mindful of that. Overall, out of 10, I'm going to give this a strong 8 so far, just out of this first couple of episodes, you guys. And I will be back in another video to talk episode 2. Drop it in the comments below. Let me know what you thought. I would love to have a discourse in the comments about it. And if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.